let's go live now to Julia Bradley, who is at Westfield Bondi Junction in Sydney for us. Julia, what can you tell us at the moment where you are?
Well, Holly, it's very much a developing situation. A major incident declared here at Westfield Bondi Junction shopping centre. As you can see, this area is awash with emergency service vehicles. There are countless ambulances outside the front here. I can count at least 7. Also swarmed with police cars as well, and people have been coming up to us urging people to avoid the area. We've got some bystanders here now, and you guys don't live in the area, but you'd come down to do some shopping. What did you see in here?
So we were just shopping in like the main area, and we heard a lady screaming, and she was saying like, help me, help me, help me. But at the time we didn't really understand what she was saying. It was just this loud scream. So we came out, there was a group of people, we were all looking up trying to figure out what was going on. So then we wandered more into like the main area. We were talking to other people. And then someone said, oh, like someone's been stabbed, but at that point it didn't like sound real. So we were just standing there. And then Mark, so he saw cops, we saw cops running. And then after that we heard around, I think it was like 4 gunshots. And as soon as the gunshots went off, that was when everyone just ran into the shops because you didn't want to be alone in that main area. And we ducked into Myers, ran in, went to the back to a locked room, and we were all kind of just sitting in there. And then we had to evacuate, and people were running on the streets, and we just still don't really know what's happened.
So you were in the centre, you heard a commotion. People have been locking themselves in centre bathrooms or shops.
Shopping centres, yeah. So they were all closing the doors because first when this loud scream was happening, the shops started closing because just I think precaution. And then we heard the gunshots. I'm not sure if it was 4 or 5, but we heard gunshots, and that's when everyone just ran. And everyone looked terrified, and people were locking themselves in the stores. We ran into the Myers, but then we were scared because that has the escalators inside. So we went into a back room with other shoppers, locked ourselves in there. And then from there we had to try and evacuate. So we left that room, walked through a stairwell, and finally got back out onto the street. And then when we came onto the street, we came to this area, I think a few hours ago, and people started running again. We weren't sure if something was happening. So we were just sprinting, just wanting to go home, but not knowing how at this point.
And the people that came out with you, are you under the impression everyone's now left the centre, still people there?
We've been running into some people, and we think everyone's left the centre, but people are still here trying to figure out how to take their cars and go home and everything like that.
And just while we've been speaking as well, there's been a police officer over here who's just walked around into the crowd on this corner, asking people as well whether they're worried about relatives or whether there's any relatives that they haven't been able to keep in contact with. So I guess suggestions there that possibly there are still some people in the centre, or they just haven't been reunited with loved ones as of yet. So really a developing situation, a moving situation. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Absolutely not. That's why it was one of those things where the screaming was happening. We thought, like, that's a bit odd. Everyone was like, oh, like, what is that? Even before we heard the gunshots, when we heard someone say someone got stabbed, we didn't believe it. We thought that must be made up. Like, that can't have happened here.
And ambulances continuing to drive into this area as well. A lot of people just standing around and watching the scene unfold and waiting to hear whether there's more information. Another ambulance arriving now as well. So this would suggest that this is a really serious situation. We know that there have been reports of multiple stabbings. We know that much is true, but now reports as well that up to 4 people possibly stabbed or even more. So police not yet confirming how many people stabbed. They did put out a statement, though, suggesting that one man had been shot, suggestions that was the person who was carrying out the shooting. So we'll have to wait to get that confirmation from police, but a really scary situation for here for people at Bondi Junction. As you could hear from that bystander just there, a shopper who'd come down today to do a bit of shopping. People locked in the shopping centre. We also know from social media pictures as well that there were people running along this bridge connecting the shopping centre. So it sounded like a really scary situation. You hear those gunshots, you hear reports of people being stabbed and people just trying to work out what to do. Do they stay in the centre? Do they lock themselves, in a centre bathroom or try to take some cover? Or do they try to get out? Because obviously the shopping centre went into lockdown at that time, as we just heard from that bystander. So a developing situation, a lot of ambulances around, a lot of police as well. So we'll bring you more information as we hear
Julia,
from the scene here at Westfield's Bondi Junction.
Julia, thank you so much for the update there. Of course, as Julia has mentioned, this is very much a developing situation. Julia Bradley's on the ground for us there.